This was such case my life which shook my brain and soul. As a police officer, I've encountered numerous bizarre cases, but none as chilling as the case of 18-year-old Emily, whose sudden behavioral changes terrorized her family. Her transformation from a regular college student to someone unrecognizable was both shocking and alarming. Living with her parents and younger brother, Emily was once a vibrant individual filled with youthful enthusiasm. However, everything changed drastically one day. It was as if the Emily her family knew had vanished overnight, replaced by someone they hardly recognized. Her parents first noticed something was amiss when Emily became increasingly withdrawn. The once loving sister started exhibiting hostility, particularly towards her brother. It escalated to the point where she would growl at him inexplicably, sending chills down everyone's spine. The situation took a darker turn as Emily began to show violent tendencies. On several occasions, she attempted to physically attack her brother. Each incident was unprovoked and completely out of character, which only added to the family's growing concern. Alongside her aggression, noticeable changes in Emily's physical appearance began to emerge. She grew gaunt, her eyes sunk deep into their sockets, giving her a haunting, hollow appearance. This drastic transformation only compounded the fear and mystery surrounding her condition. Emily's nocturnal activities became a source of terror for her family. Night after night, the sound of her nails scratching against the walls echoed through the quiet house. The eerie, persistent scrapes were accompanied by low, unsettling noises that disturbed the sleep of everyone. Her parents, desperate for answers, eventually uncovered a collection of black magic books hidden in Emily's room. These books, filled with dark rituals and spells, were thumbed and worn, suggesting Emily had been studying them intensely. This discovery only deepened the family's fears about her mental state. Feeling out of their depth, Emily's parents made the difficult decision to involve the authorities. They hoped that police intervention could ensure their safety and help bring their daughter back from the brink of whatever abyss she was slipping into. When I was assigned to the case, I approached it with a healthy dose of skepticism. Reports of behavior that hinted at the supernatural were not something I typically dealt with in my line of work. Yet, nothing could have prepared me for the chilling atmosphere of their home. Upon my first visit, a palpable sense of dread permeated the house. The air was thick with tension, and the family's anxiety was almost tangible. As I crossed the threshold, a terrifying stage for the investigation that lay ahead. When I spoke with Emily's family, the fear in their eyes was palpable. They recounted stories of her aggressive outbursts and strange behaviors, each memory laced with worry. They were desperate for answers, clinging to hope that something could explain their daughter's transformation. During my initial visit, the air in Emily's room was thick with unease. As I stepped inside, a cold shiver ran down my spine, an instinctual alert to the strangeness enveloping this once peaceful household. It felt as though the walls themselves were steeped in dread. Emily's behavior during my presence was unsettling. She oscillated between a vacant stare and sharp, sudden glances. It seemed as if she was both there and not there at the same time, her eyes occasionally flickering with a hint of something darker. Convinced that mere observation wasn't enough, I decided to conduct a night surveillance. The household fell into a tense silence as darkness enveloped us. That night, I witnessed the harrowing episodes that had tormented her family, her screams, her whispers, and the inexplicable sounds that filled the house. The confrontation with Emily was the most disturbing part of the investigation. She approached me unexpectedly, her voice dropping to a growl, uttering phrases that chilled me to the bone. It was in this moment that I realized this case was beyond my usual scope of police work. After consulting with paranormal experts, the consensus was unsettling. Emily might be experiencing a genuine possession. Their insights into similar cases and historical accounts of supernatural phenomena provided a grim context to her symptoms, guiding the next steps of intervention. The decision to conduct a ritual was not taken lightly. With full consent from Emily's family, a well-respected psychic was brought in. The aim was clear: to cleanse Emily and the home from any malevolent presence that had taken hold. The night of the ritual was intense. As the psychic began their work, strange occurrences peaked. Objects moved inexplicably, and Emily's resistance was fierce, her screams echoing through the house as if multiple voices were entangled within her. In the weeks following the ritual, Emily's transformation was remarkable. Her violent outbursts subsided, and her physical appearance gradually returned to normal. The family witnessed her becoming more like the daughter and sister they knew before the ordeal. Reflecting on this case, my perspective on the boundaries between the known and the unknown has profoundly shifted. Revisiting Emily's family months later, their gratitude was palpable, yet a touch of wariness remained, a reminder of the ordeal they had survived. Months later, I returned to Emily's home where her family greeted me with warm smiles, a stark contrast to the fear that once consumed them. They expressed deep gratitude, sharing how Emily had returned to her normal, cheerful self, which relieved everyone involved. As I left their house, the case officially closed. The eerie memories of those nights lingered in my mind. It was a stark reminder of the mysterious, perhaps paranormal forces that we are yet unaware of, challenging my previous beliefs about the natural world. In the frostbitten heart of winter, a meticulous highway safety inspector, I begin to encounter reports of mysterious truck accidents along a secluded stretch of road. Tasked with ensuring driver safety, I face an unnerving uptick in incidents as the cold deepens. As snow blankets the landscape, truckers voice their frustrations about hazardous conditions, with several trucks veering off the road unexpectedly. The complaints pile up on my desk, each incident woven with threads of worry and urgency from the drivers braving the icy paths. I initially dismisses these accidents as typical winter woes. I attributes them to the dense fog and the notorious black ice that makes the roads treacherous. Convinced it's nothing more than nature's doing, I advises truckers to simply slow down and drive with caution. However, as the seasons shift and the ice melts into summer, I expect the accidents to cease. The crashes continue under the clear skies and dry roads, challenging my earlier assumptions about their causes. Despite my initial skepticism, the continued incidents force me to take the truckers' concerns more seriously. I starts to notice a troubling pattern. All the accidents are occurring within the same 100-meter stretch of highway, sparking a deeper investigation into this peculiar anomaly. As the winter waned and the frost melted away, the accidents persisted into the warmer months, much to everyone's surprise. I, initially dismissive, could no longer ignore the pattern. Complaints continued to mount, with each incident inexplicably occurring within the same 100-meter stretch of the highway. The situation was becoming alarming. During interviews, several truck drivers shared chillingly similar stories. They spoke of fleeting glimpses of a young girl by the roadside, visible only for a haunting moment before each crash. These accounts were dismissed by some as fatigue-induced hallucinations, but the consistency of the descriptions raised eyebrows. Concerned by these eerie testimonies, I decided to delve deeper. The need to find a rational explanation drove me to scour through old traffic accident reports. What I uncovered was a forgotten tragedy that had occurred years ago on that very stretch of road. The records revealed a heart-wrenching incident. A schoolgirl, riding her bicycle along the highway, was struck and killed by a passing truck. The case had gone cold, the driver never found, and the girl's story faded into obscurity, until now. Compelled by the findings, I visited the site of the accidents. Standing there, I couldn't shake off the eerie feeling that enveloped me. The air felt thick, charged with an unspoken sorrow, as if the highway itself remembered the tragedy that had once stained its pavement. The protagonist's inquiries led me to the locals who lived near the accident-prone stretch of highway. Many hesitated to speak, but those who did shared chilling accounts of seeing a spectral figure of a young girl near the road during twilight hours. Feeling a mix of skepticism and intrigue, the protagonist wrestled with the possibility of a supernatural explanation for the accidents. Rationality clashed with the eerie testimonies and my own uneasy feelings whenever I visited the site. One particularly cold night, compelled by a mix of fear and determination, I set up surveillance cameras along the notorious highway stretch. Hours into the vigil, I glimpsed what seemed like the vague outline of a person through the misty lens. The emotional impact of the sightings began to weigh heavily on me. Driven by a need for answers, I started researching the identity of the girl. I learned about a tragic incident years ago where a young schoolgirl was struck by a truck and killed instantly on that very spot. My next step was to meet with the family of the deceased girl. The family, still grieving after all these years, shared stories of their daughter's vibrant life and the devastating void her untimely death left in their hearts. My investigation led to a chilling realization. The truck driver involved in the original accident had also been haunted by visions of the girl before his own mysterious disappearance. This pattern of haunting and tragedy seemed to suggest a curse on the highway stretch. Determined to break the cycle, I proposed creating a memorial at the site of the accidents. The idea was to acknowledge the girl's untimely death and offer her spirit peace, hoping it might prevent further incidents. However, I met with skepticism and even ridicule from the local community and authorities. Many dismissed the supernatural elements of the story, attributing the accident solely to road conditions and driver error. Undeterred, I pressed on and organized a small group of supporters to help construct the memorial. I worked together to build a modest but heartfelt tribute at the roadside, marking the spot where the girl had died. Finally, they held a night vigil by the memorial, lighting candles and sharing stories of the girl's life. It was a solemn but hopeful gesture, aimed at healing old wounds and safeguarding future travelers on that haunted stretch of highway. Following the completion of the memorial, a noticeable decrease in accidents was observed. This eerie correlation suggested that the restless spirit of the girl might have found peace, lending credence to the supernatural explanation among the locals and even some skeptics. I, once a staunch skeptic, found their perspective profoundly altered. The blend of harsh reality with the whispers of superstition that wrapped around the stretch of highway had woven a new understanding of the paranormal in their mind. Dear viewers, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe my YouTube channel, Mr. Horror Hood, to watch more such fearful and real-life experience videos. Thanks for watching. See you in next video.